Come to Terrace, BC, and it's easy to notice the love within the services in this small and spirited community. This is a show about the people and organizations that give back and make this area so awesome. This is Good in Terrace. In this episode, we visit Sasa Loggin and her team at the Skeena Diversity Society.
Ready?
Hello.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
How can we help you?
So, what do you guys have here to do?
So my name is Sasa Loggin, and I'm the Executive Director here at Skeena Diversity.
She's playing with me, aren't she?
And she's like, we reach.
Back in 1999, I got connected with a group that was working to address racism. There was a racist incident in one of the schools, and so we formed Terrace Anti-Racism Group. And then I think in the fall of 2000, the government came with a funding to address institutional racism. And a group of people came together and formed what's now Skeena Diversity, and I joined shortly after. There was funding available from government, and so they just chose several communities. It was mainly communities outside of Lower Mainland. Just invite them, would your community like to come together and start looking at different aspects of systemic racism? So the city was involved, the college, RCMP, and number of nonprofit organizations. So some of the first projects, so there was small project money. So we were doing, first sort of brought people together just to look at what people's experiences were. And then I remember hosting workshops to the community. So we brought in a speaker to sort of talk about how do you recognize racism and how do you stop it. So there was a series of workshops, and then we were working with the local high school, and they had a project. They had actually play that they made for the community. So there was just a variety of projects. So this all happened between the year 2000 and 2010. And then 2009, there was a new funding, which was around creating welcoming communities and workplaces, and we applied for that and were successful. And that's when we so until this point, until 2010, we didn't have an office. So always the coordinator would we would support them working from home or working sort of in the community, and because we didn't want to put the money towards rent, because it was just small pockets of money and we wanted to maximize most of it. And then after that, we realized, you know what, if we need to mobilize the community and kind of work in more grounded way, we should open an office. And that's when we moved here, and we opened in February 2010. So now that it's almost our primary focus is really working with newcomers or anybody, different from temporary residents, like international students or foreign workers, permanent residents, and also people that reach Canadian citizenship, and adding more services. And, yeah. So, some people come and they come for English, and then they join international cooking. They might join just starting again this month's international dance. Then they might need help with employment. We do field trips and connect with Indigenous organizations, so people start learning about connecting with Indigenous communities and history and understanding that. So there's always so much more that we are learning, and then we are passing that knowledge on. And last year we hosted several cultural events like Diwali and Holi, and celebrated the Lunar New Year a little bit more. And last month we celebrated Nowruz. So it's there's always more, and I understand that there's a Sri Lankan New Year that we will be looking at. So it's fun so it's creating a community where people feel they can see or showcase their culture that they come in, but also are connecting with people from different cultures.
So every year we do like a block party. So these are the people who attended the block party. So everybody who attended the block party, we made their portrait. And this is the second year we did it. There's a smaller portrait where there was like 35 people. Now it grew to like 65. So Matthew is the one who actually made this portrait. So the guy with the glasses, all the art you see, he's the one who did it. The tree, Vera did all those. So those people are all the staff members. So as you can see, that's me.
Oh yeah.
And that's Sasha in the orange, Vera in the green, Urja in the red, Matthew in the purple. Yeah. We try to keep it diverse. And have you saw the pictures up there for the international cooking?
You were pointing.
We actually have the guide, but this program has been going from last 10 years, and every Friday we do international cooking. People sign up to be a chef, and we provide them ingredients and stuff, and people just come by and they try the food. So it happens every Friday, and these are the people who cooked. The pictures are way less, but we have so many of them.
Have you done one of the
international cooking?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'm right behind that. The yellow over there, the curry.
I have some like tents of
See on the bottom.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was an international student when I did that 4 years ago. Fruit-based curry.
Yeah.
It's just so amazing to see people grow, right? When they first enter here, and then they start getting involved, and then they start offering, or sharing their skills and talents, and you see people become more confident and more involved. Yeah. And majority of our staff, we're immigrants ourselves, so we have that connection and understanding as well of what it was like to arrive in Canada, and get help or don't get help, overcome challenges, and so then if you can share a little bit of that with others, it's really great. When you're just coming to Canada, the expectations and reality are a little bit different, especially in smaller towns, and so just kind of bridging that. But I find that Terrace is sort of, we're not the best, we're not perfect. So I think people are more open, or the community overall is open. It's like, hey, you come in, you bring in new skills, or you're opening a new business. Great, we need all that. And so I think we are a little bit more open that way.
We can help you get your PR, yes we can.
But I don't have my work permit.
You have to apply for your work permit first.
Okay.
Grab a seat, book your appointment.
And usually when new people come in, we sit down with them, find out sort of, most often people come because they have some kind of an issue, right? Or something maybe are dealing with, or they feel like they have to have an issue. Actually, anybody can come in And that's why, that's one of the reasons we started international cooking, because we wanted to connect with people before they encountered challenges, right? So, but people sort of felt, you often newcomers feel, or anybody, I don't want to bother anyone, right? I'll deal with it. And so we want to build that connection before there's an issue, right? And then people feel more comfortable to come and say, hey, I'm dealing with this, or I have a question about something. Yeah. So yes, so I would say come on in, we sit down, we get to know what maybe people have ideas, or they want to share something, or they just want to learn a little bit more and connect with people. Yeah, so it doesn't have to be an issue. And then the way that when you see our office, it's very open, right? So it's not like you come and say, oh, I have an appointment for this and this. That's why we have a number of events that anybody can come in. I love everything is on wheels. So when we actually expanded into this space last summer, and we had one family from Korea that was leaving town, and we were so sad. And they said, you know what? That would be wonderful if in your new space you created a wall with everybody's hands. And so they were actually our first hands. So there was Miyang, and that's her son Rugi. So they created the hands, and then Matthew drew the tree around it. So this is, and then every time we think about it, we ask people to put their hands on the wall. So this will keep on growing. It's just great memories, because one of the hardest part of the job is when people leave, right? When people move on, which we do very much have to encourage them to do. But at the same time, you're sad, right? Because you don't get to interact with people as much, but happy for them moving on. So this is a little bit of a memory wall as well. And then here we have one of Vitaly, who's from Ukraine, and we have a number of people from Ukraine that we also support. Yeah, so majority of our funding comes from the federal government, from IRCC, so that's Immigration, Refugee, Citizenship Canada. So that's the bulk of our funding. And that sort of allows us to do all those programs like English, employment supports, information, community connections. And then we have similar funding that comes from BC settlement, so federal government. And then we have Resilience BC for anti-racism, diversity, inclusion work. And we have some funding that from Northern Health for, as you can see, we are starting to grow seeds and just really connecting especially newcomers to growing things, and then learning like, well, what are some of the plants that you're growing, and then turning it from the seed, and then we can also use it in international cooking. So every week, so we have started this in 2013, so we'll actually be celebrating 10 years of international cooking every week. So every week we kind of look for we encourage people to share how they cook their favorite dish, and it can be we call it international cooking, but it can be anything. It can be something from your own background or your family's doing, or maybe you just saw something and you want to test it out. So when I cook, I have not really cooked that much when I was growing up. So, but there are certain dishes that I always liked or wondered about. So for me, I actually go on internet and I sort of figure out how to cook something that I've always wanted to learn but never done, and then share it at International Cooking to mostly good results. So anyway, so we say just last Friday we had we had somebody cooking from Japan. Her it was mom and daughter, and they cooked sushi and miso soup. And so they had the recipe, and we purchased the ingredients, and then they come and we set it up on hot plates. So it's sort of in the room in the open, so everybody can watch and help. And then when it's time to eat, we set up, push together lots of tables so everybody can sit around the table, and we make sure that we introduce ourselves. And this is something new that we started this year, that whoever's cooking can come with a question that they ask everyone as they are introducing themselves. So each week, even if you come every week and you already remember everybody's name, you get to learn a little bit something about everybody who participates. So it's very much kind of it's not just about learning to cook or some tasting different tastes, but it's also about building that connection in the community. And you're sitting around the table eating this wonderful meal with people that you have never met, and building those connections. So we have people that come every week, and some people come maybe once a month, and sort of depending on their time. And then eventually we encourage people, hey, would you like to try to cook something? And you can see that pride that people have when they step up and they say, yes, I'm ready to share, because not everybody is ready to share right away, right? So yeah, that's very simple, but it just works really well. And you know, I especially when I'm cooking, I feel like it's like therapy. You know, at the end of the week, you kind of getting through trying something that maybe you haven't tried before, and then everybody's like, oh, I really like, you know, people are so supportive. And so again, it feels like you get this big hug at the end of the week. Either you try new food or you meet new people, or if you're the one cooking, that people just acknowledge and recognize you and your culture or your skill or your effort, if nothing else. So back home we eat a lot of organs like liver and stuff, and the one time I was making liver dumplings because I always wanted to learn how you make them, and it was messy and it took forever. But then everybody I think was really surprised how good it tasted.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of like unexpected because it looked terrible.
Oh no.
And I only tried it at home, so on a larger scale, it was hard to imagine how unsightly that would look, but it turned out really good.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it's I'm learning about my own culture, and I left my country when I was 22, 23. So I have learned a lot of things about myself and where I come from, kind of almost afterwards.